What is art? How do we value it? These are the questions we will dive into today. When we asked what the first piece of art that comes to a person's mind, here's some of the responses we got from our interviewees. The Mona Lisa.
Probably cliche, but I guess the Mona Lisa, I just remember learning about it like all through grade school, and even in high school, like the people would make references to it, and I just think in our culture it's so like ingrained, like that is a piece of artwork, that it was kind of like my first definition of what art was. So I think that kind of goes back to what we learn in our culture can kind of influence what people think. I think if you mentioned Mona Lisa anywhere, people would know that it's a piece of art.
When thinking of the word art, I think of paintings. I think of artists like George Seurat, Pointillism. I think of different pieces. And I definitely think of museums and all the art that they hold.
Now, as we know, art's value is hard to quantify. This is partly because value is subjective in nature. Are you talking about monetary value, utility, or other ways to give things value? In our interviews, we found that there was an agreement among the academics and other experts that there is no easy answer when thinking about how to value art. This is so similar to many great problems and systems. When asked how they quantify art's value, here's some of the reactions we got.
When we think of value, I think that there's cultural value and social value and also monetary, capital value. I don't know exactly how capital value would play into that. I assume that it's a lot to do with the reputation of the artist already. If he's already an established artist or choreographer or playwright or whatever, then I assume that his things are going to be more expensive because of the reputation that he has. But also I think that the types of materials that are being produced and the types of atmospheres in which these arts are being displayed have something to do. When it comes to cultural value, I think that it can range. So it's what are the goals of the artist and what is he trying to accomplish, or what conversations or emotions that he's trying to create, and that's what might add value in that perspective. And when it comes to social, for me it's always been what impact are you leaving behind, like what is the memory that you leave after watching a piece or after just taking a picture of a picture per se. Like what do you take from that? And if it is thought-provoking, if it is insightful, then I think that it does have more value than something.
This notion of value in art other than money got us thinking. We asked some of our respondents what criteria they would use in determining the value of a piece of art other than monetarily. Here's what Emily Condon had to say on what she thought the value of art was in non-monetary forms.
Well, I think art's main value isn't monetary. I think it's mostly about just like emotion behind art is what makes it value to certain people at certain times of their life. I think like basically if someone went through like a traumatic experience, that if they were exposed, like if they were in 9/11 and they were exposed to something that reminded them of that, it may speak to them more than it would speak to someone like me that's been through that. So I think art just has value through emotion from different people's backgrounds and experiences.
We sat down with Chen Gao, who is a corporate strategy professor at the University of Michigan, and asked him how he quantified art. Chen Gao went on to say, "The economic perspective says you put it on the market and see what price fetches. That's the purely market-based view. But the other point of view is that different people have different tastes, and art has different meaning and is valued differently by different people. An art collector may be willing to pay a lot of money for something nice, but someone who's barely scraping by is not going to value something like abstract art very highly. So what is art? It is what you want it to be." Art, in all of its forms, is highly subjective, especially the high arts. There are methods that seek to determine different forms of value, but if our interviews are any indication, the usefulness of these methods is determined by the person evaluating the art. Overall, we recognize that art, what it is and how we value it, is not tied to any particular method.